My name is Piyusha Sharma, and I'll be joining as a faculty over here in the Mass Communication and Journalism department. Um, so I don't really have a lot of experience into teaching yet. So whatever I'm going to be presenting here, the teachers, the faculties might already be using that. So please excuse me for that if you find this something common. And also, what I try to put in here is I see myself till now as a student. So I'll try to bring in something where what do the students feel, what do they feel, because yesterday when I was thinking about the topic, where what do I select for the presentation, I just have a day for that. I came across a lot of faculties. They had this very common problem that the students do not want. They're not very much interested into their assignments. You give an assignment, especially in the newsletter thing that I was going through. Students will give their assignments. They will just give it for the sake of giving, and there will be a little few students who will be doing this every time, and the other they're not bothered about it. So how do we engage those students who are not bothered about their assignments, who don't really give a lot of attention towards that? So is it okay? Okay. So I'll try to keep it in this way, from the perspective of a student and from the perspective of somebody from the industry. So I'll give you a brief introduction about myself, that I have worked I've worked with the Aaj Tak and Z News, and also in short. So I've had a little experience in the industry. So I'll try to inculcate both of these things into my presentation. So the topic for my presentation is positive and negative reinforcement for students' participation. So reinforcement, I'll just give a little introduction to that. Reinforcement is something as simple as you touch fire and you get burnt. That is a reinforcement, a negative one. A positive reinforcement, something you eat an ice cream and your taste buds feels good, right? So this is a reinforcement. Now coming into academics, reinforcement can be something as simple as the grades. Let's say you're studying, you're getting good grades. That's a positive reinforcement. You're not studying, not getting good grades. That's a negative reinforcement, right? So I'll move on to the presentation. So I have created something like the Cambridge effect. So this is not an effect that is given by some Cambridge scholar. This is something I created on my own yesterday itself. So before thinking about how to engage students, we need to understand how to engage the faculties. Let's say we are all sitting out here, and you just get a message that you have to write a 500 words essay, and you have to submit it in 2 days, right? Everybody will do that and submit it. Let's say Amrish sir has given that. You will submit it somehow, you'll write it and give it. And let's say you get the same message that you have to write a 500 words essay, and that can lend you a position at the Cambridge. Now imagine the shift of effort that you as a faculty, as a teacher, is gonna put into that other 500 word essay, rather than putting an effort which is just given by the college, let's say, right? So that's something that I created, is the Cambridge effect that just came into my mind yesterday. Let's go to the next one. So now we will go on to the next slide, which says that how do we imbibe this positive and negative reinforcement in the students. I would want you all to see this one. This is a very common meme that a lot of us come across when we give the interviews. That where do you see yourself in 5 years? The HR will ask you this thing, right? This is a meme nowadays. So where do you see yourself? The students need to understand. We need to make them understand from the beginning itself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Not 5, 10, but where do you see? You are okay. So you can. I mean, this one is not my personal favorite, but then you can imagine any of your favorite anchors, or you would want to see yourself in that position. It depends on you. So that is a positive and a negative example of one such reinforcement. Let's move on to the next one. Now see, I would want you to focus on the title. When you take your assignments seriously, this is what you're gonna get. This is one of the positive reinforcement, because we as a faculty, we know, right? We are working, we get salary. This kind of reaction we get our salaries, right? And if you're not putting a lot of attention to your assignments, let's say, just go on to the title. When you are a fan of CTRL-C and CTRL-V, that is a copy-paste. Students need to understand, if you are a copy-paste fan, that is where you're going to land. And focus on the lower part of the meme that says that now, a lot of students in the media industry, courses especially, they have to fight a lot with their parents. I have fought, so I know that. So with the parent, because they are like become a doctor or something like that. Now, when you're not performing good, when you're not doing your assignments seriously, when you're not getting a good job after your assignments, what are your parents gonna say? IAS बन जाते, पहले ही मना किया था. So students need to understand how important it is for them to take those assignments seriously. This is how we're gonna, somehow we need to put this in their minds from the very beginning, and I'll tell you why it is important in the later slides. Now let's say, let's say if still something is left out. Now this is the, just focus on the upper part first, the upper newspaper cutting. It's actually an article, sorry. So it says that it's a positive reinforcement that there are so many jobs out there for media industry. We're not saying there are no jobs, right? But now come on to the lower part. If you are not focusing on your assignments, let's say you're given an article to write, somebody else in the college, that yesterday we were discussing in the newsletter thing, somebody will edit it for you. You will have your portfolio ready. Even the college will give you a placement. They will help you with everything. You can get a job with your connections. You will get into the first part of the article, right? But if you don't really know what we are doing, right? You don't know how to write an article. You don't know where to put the full stop, comma, single inverted, double inverted. You will land on to the next one, the last one. People lose also, right? People lose their jobs. So this positive and negative reinforcement will kind of set the student in an idea that this is the reality. We need to show them the real pictures, because what happens when the students come in, colleges promise them a lot of things, right? We never talk about the bad part. And this is not the bad part. It is just the reality that you're here, you will be trained, but it's on you. If you're not doing it the right way, that's where you're gonna be landing. Okay, so I'll come on to the last, the next one. Okay, so these are some of the myths and the realities of the media industry. The biggest, okay, so the person in both of those, that's me, okay? That is not somebody else, that's me. Here I am, when I was working with Aaj Tak, and that's when I was working with Z News. You can see that it looks like two different people, right? Now this is how I want to put forth an idea of the myths and reality of the industry, to be precise. Because when the students come in, they think, all of them, the media students come with this mindset that they're gonna be some great anchor, reporter or something, and which is very good. I also came up with that idea only, right? But we also have to understand what it takes. Students, when they know what it takes from the very beginning, this has to be done in the very beginning. If they know what it takes from there to here, and from here to here, from here to somewhere else, wherever they want to reach. This is just an example from the media industry. It could be advertising, it could be PR, it could be anything else. I'm just focusing on this one. So the first myth is that the glamour, the industry is very glamorous. Okay, it is. Trust me, it's not a myth, it is glamorous. But you need to put in an effort to reach that glamour position. From there, it requires sheer hard work. If you're putting that sheer hard work right from your college days, then you're gonna land into the glamour part. Not just looking at this picture and you can, now I'm gonna be sitting there in a studio apartment, and studio apartment, in that AC studio and be reading the teleprompter. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to first stand in the sun for years, and then you get into that studio, right? Then the second myth is that there's money or no money. Some students come with this idea, some of us, the parents come with this idea that there is no money in media. There's no money, you can't earn a lot of money. Sir can relate with me on that. No, so that's where I'm coming. Okay, not with the copy-paste method. If you see the reality, money or no money, but not with the copy-paste method. You can earn a lot of money in media. There is a lot of money. You cannot imagine how much money there is, but not with the copy-paste method. Right? And if you think that there is a lot of money and you're just coming here sitting like, okay, fine, I'm gonna get a job and then I'm gonna be like sitting out there. No, it doesn't work like that, right? So now let's come on to the next myth, that is warm welcome. So somebody with the open arms sitting there, come please have a coffee and then we can discuss your salary. Not going to be working like that, because see, we need to, and I'll simultaneously go into the reality. This is a myth that somebody will welcome you out there. That's the reality, that there's gonna be a lot of competition. that is where the real picture comes for the faculty, to make them understand what the competition is. Once the students know that there's gonna be a competition, that we are gonna face a very high competition out there in the industry, that's where they realize that we need to put in efforts on writing right now. I need to know where to put the full stop and where to put the comma, because somebody else who's sitting there for the interview is putting the comma at the right place, and I'm not gonna be getting that job. We need to make them understand this from the very beginning itself, right? Now then, the next myth is that you will get to travel across the world. Yes, you will get to travel across the world, not very soon, but then comes the reality in sun and rain. You need to understand that. If you think that, I'll be traveling across the world, we need to, so this session is not for the students, basically for the faculty. They need to make the students realize this thing from the very beginning, right? You will get all of this. It's not that you will not, because if you dream it, you will get that, but it comes with the cost. You will have to be in the sun and the rain. So that picture, if you see, that was somewhere around 45 degrees Celsius when I was doing that reporting, right? This can be an AC room, but not that, right? So you need to know that if you don't put the hard work right now, you have to put the hard work from the beginning itself. You have to understand that, bring it into practice from the very beginning. And we need to tell the students and bring it into your practice. Working for 12 hours a day, putting in your efforts like that, you have to understand. Okay, so that's how you can. And then the last one is, this is something unachievable. I'm not talking about mine, but let's say the first picture, let's say somebody wants to become a primetime anchor, let's say, and they think that's not something we can achieve. That's just like that, and we won't. No, that's not. The other slides, the reality says that it is possible, because all those people, they are human beings, right? They're not from some other planet. They're from the same planet. They're putting in the right kind of effort. There's no glamour. You will be amazed to know that these people who sit there, do the prime time, they don't eat right. They don't eat their favorite food. They're eating raw food. They're eating some raw chicken or something, some fruits, because they need to maintain themselves. Otherwise, they'll be taken off air. So there's no glamour. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of patience. There are a lot of sacrifice. So we need to make our students understand that what the reality is. And so my presentation is over. I would like to just end it with a small note. That is why I am doing this is something, as a student, if I would have known earlier when I was in my student's life, I would have paid a little more attention towards my assignments, towards the projects. I would have done that, because if I knew it back then, I would have maybe gotten better opportunities, or I would say, I was a good student already, so I used to focus on my assignments. But still, if I knew these things, these realities, I would have paid more attention, right? I could have maybe done something better, right? So and this is something that we need to make the students understand every now and then. This is not that we need to show them some presentation every time. Let's say we are doing a class, that there's a class going on, and you start to feel that I gave this assignment, students are not really interested. After every 2 weeks, you can just 5 minutes, 7 minutes of motivational session just to tell what are you going to face. See, you're writing this, your copy, earlier it used to happen if people have worked in print, they will in front of your eyes throw that in the dustbin, your copy. You will get the copy, they throw, what is this? And they will not even look at you. So if the student is coming up and just giving a copy paste thing, make them understand. You have to write 15 articles a day for a web when you work in a web. You will not just get any kind of job. You have to understand that you will have to write 15 articles. What will you do then? Start practicing it now. So these are some things we can do after every 2 or 3 weeks for the students to motivate them, and then they will automatically start to put in a lot of efforts into what they do. Okay, so I don't know if these things are already implemented. This is just something out of my experience, I could say. So I will just end it with this. We can always make our student understand this simple cliche quote, and I would like to end it with this. Thank you. I'm open to questions.
First of all, very nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Reality बड़ी ज़रूरी है, but इसको अगर मैं टीचिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हटा के मैनेजमेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू पे लेके आऊँ, तो ये बहुत डरावनी भी है तस्वीर कि अगर नया स्टूडेंट इस इंडस्ट्री में आना चाहता है और ये हम सबकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है कि हम उनको बताते हैं कि भाई इस इंडस्ट्री में काफ़ी स्कोप है, काफ़ी जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं। लेकिन जब इस चीज़ को देखता है, आपने उसको क्लियर आउट किया कि टीचर्स की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि उनको वो मोटिवेट करें कि इस कंपटीशन के लिए तैयार करना है। तो मेरा सिंपल एक क्वेश्चन नाउ एक स्टेटमेंट है कि इसके साथ हम सभी टीचर्स की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है कि उनको इस तरीके से मोटिवेट करें कि इंडस्ट्री में बहुत स्कोप भी है। अगर आप देखें कि रेडियो, प्रिंट और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक के बाद अब डिजिटल जब से आया है, नौकरियों की कमी नहीं है, बस आपको उस तरीके की तैयारी करने की जरूरत है कि आप इंडस्ट्री आपको उठाए। आज मेरे पास 5,000 से लेके 50,000 तक की सैलरी पे कोई दिक्कत नहीं, आराम से सैलरी नौकरी मिल जाती है, लेकिन मिलती सिर्फ उन्हीं को है जो मेहनत करते हैं, ठीक है, और जो इंडस्ट्री के साथ अपने आप को ढालते हैं। और मेरे ख्याल से आप सभी लोग एग्री करेंगे, आई थिंक अमरीश सर 100% इस चीज से एग्री करेंगे, जो हम पढ़ते हैं और इंडस्ट्री में बिल्कुल उसका अलग होता है काम। तो हम जो कैरिकुलम पढ़ रहे हैं वो बिल्कुल अलग हो रहा है, तो हमको उस तरीके से तैयार करना पड़ेगा और स्टूडेंट को मोटिवेट भी करता रहेगा। ऐसा ना हो कि बीजीएमसी में स्टूडेंट कम होते जाएं, धीरे धीरे हम फैकल्टी भी कम होते जाएं।
सर आई वुड
नहीं, ये सर नहीं नहीं नहीं, आप ठीक है, नहीं मैंने सिर्फ ये डाला कि आप कह सकते हैं, हो सकता है आप डिसएग्री करें सर, करने का सबका अधिकार है सर, कर सकते हैं, लेकिन मेरा यहां कहना है कि जो मैंने जितना इंडस्ट्री में काम किया है, मैंने जितना देखा है, सिंपल क्वेश्चन मैं आपको बताता हूं, ये मेरे ख्याल से हम टीचर ही पढ़ाते हैं और बुक्स में भी लिखा है, कट इन्स एंड कटअवेज। बहुत ही सिंपल चीज है, आई थिंक जो प्रोडक्शन के लोग जानते हैं। हम इसका उल्टा बोलते हैं इंडस्ट्री के अंदर, जो गलत है, ठीक है। ये पीयूषा, इस चीज को आप भी जानते हैं, हमें हर कैमरामैन बोलता है कटअवेज ले लो। कटअवेज इज नॉट फ्रॉम द सेम एक्शन, कट-इन्स फ्रॉम द सेम एक्शन। ये हमेशा हर कैमरामैन और सीनियर मोस्ट कैमरामैन करते हैं। सो मेरा कहने का मतलब है कि हमें इसको मोटिवेट भी करना जरूरी है। Thank you.
Sir, just for that, the thing that you said, every slide of mine would include the positive reinforcement as well. I will always give a positive with the negative, and if you will see, I have given positive first in every slide. I mean, I understand that. Yeah. I'm so sorry, but that's what I tried to put in, because we need to show them the positive first. If you're giving our example, even if you see the last one, I have put this picture here and that picture later on, right? I have given everything in the clear concept that positive has to be there.
Question was also related actually. The real challenge is how to motivate our students, and I believe that we can tell them the success stories, we can give them examples, tell them, share our experiences with them. But then I think using fear appeal with students can be little challenging.
Ma'am, I would just give an example for that. Tomorrow, let's say, I'm not giving your example, let's say I'm giving my example. I have been given some assignments to do. I am doing my stuff at home because we're all engaged with all kinds of activities at home. Something is going on in our family, something is going on over there. Tomorrow, if I'm said that if you're not doing this on time, you're losing your job. That's not fear. That's something that we need to keep in mind to face the real challenges of life. Because if the students are not prepared for those real challenges, they need to fear at one point in time. They need to understand. Then there's no concept that then there will be something like that. The students are giving their assignments just like that. They would not fear that if I'm not learning how to put the full stop right, then I'm not gonna get a job later on. That's more than it's not exactly a fear, and that's not a bigger fear. We're just making them understand the reality.
I think
has
we
to
can
be the
come
proper
up
use
with
of words,
subtle
maybe.
ways,
Right.
introduce certain things and tell them that there is this slight possibility, and then perhaps this can work. But I really did like your presentation.
Thank you.
And that's what I was thinking about actually.
Thank you.
It's also that I think this talking about this positive, negative reinforcements, and it would come down eventually if the entire process is taking place, and the process of teaching and learning is taking place in the right direction. A student who is capable can go to any heights from any college, from any institution. Amrit sir knows that when I was teaching in Muradabad, so there have been students जो अपने पूरे खानदान में first generation learners थे, and I can tell you they're doing very well because the process that they chose was the right one.
Sir, I'm sorry, I'll just take one minute in this. This is something that I understand. See, that just as sir ne bola, there are students who are already doing good. They are already motivated. They don't need no motivation.
नहीं मैम,
We
मैं आपकी
will-
baत को discard नहीं
No,
कर
no,
रहा.
I
I'm just
understand,
adding
I'm just adding
हाँ.
on to that. So we have to actually motivate those students who are not interested. Thank you.